Okay, this isn't good. Okay, Pixar is not doing too hot right now. Elemental just released about a week ago, and the box office is not looking that great. The movie came out with the lowest domestic box office for any Pixar movie, and the budget was $200 million, and that's somehow more than Spider-Verse. So this movie is not on a good track to make its budget back. Hopefully it does, but it's really not looking great. And from last year, Lightyear also bombing? Is Pixar like going downhill right now? And the future of Pixar with their original movies is just not looking great, and I'm kinda worried about it. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let's see what's going on with Pixar's box office and how their movies are just coming out and just not doing great. Now, obviously, the first finger to point out would probably be Disney. Now, yes, that could be a factor for them throwing their films onto Disney Plus and making everyone think that they don't have to go to a theater to watch a Pixar movie anymore. That is true. But there is a few more factors onto why these movies just aren't hitting the mark anymore. And one of those has to do with marketing. And this especially has to do with Elemental. Elemental's marketing was, yes, it was definitely marketed. I saw this movie on billboards, on trains, on buses. It was everywhere. The point is, people didn't care. The movie's trailers, like I said in the last video, did not do this movie justice at all. It's not really drawing people in. The movie just made it seem like your typical rom-com and just... It didn't draw people in. You have the likes of Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse and the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and then you got Elemental. You put all those three trailers in front of hundreds of millions of people, and you make them think, okay, which is the best out of these movies? Which one I could go see? 90% of those people would probably pick the Super Mario Bros. Movie or Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's because Elemental's just not drawing in people. They're using their marketing for all the wrong things, honestly. And that's not just it. They just hide too much of their movies. And another thing you could also say is that, yes, it's an original movie. It's a lot harder to get an original movie to do well because it's original. Not a lot of people know the brand, not many people, because it's fair, because the Mario movie came out. Yes, that was Illumination's first take on Mario, but it's Mario, are you kidding? Mario is probably one of the biggest video game franchises of all time. And then you got Spider-Man. Do I even have to explain that? Spider-Man's just as big as Mario. And it's that you didn't draw people into this movie thinking they need to see this. You gotta give that hook. Like, okay, we're at a point in time now where there are people excited for lesser-known animated movies than Pixar movies. That's insane. Even Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, which I had already watched a few days ago, I really liked it, has generated more hype than Elemental, and that says a lot. And there's a really deep-rooted problem here going on, and their box office is slowly declining, and Pixar's stock is just not looking good. And not just the factor that, new Elio trailer came out about a week ago, and the reception was not good. I mean, it was a teaser, I'll give it that, but people were also saying it looks generic, it looks boring. And the worst part about this, Elio is not gonna have a good time. Okay, maybe it'll be okay because it starts off the month of March. But do you know what movie follows after this? You got Kung Fu Panda 4 releasing about 2 weeks after. 2 weeks after Godzilla x Kong. It's a live action movie, it's not really animation competition, still a big movie regardless. And then at the end of the month, Spider-Man Beyond the Spiderverse. That in itself is just not good. I don't know why Pixar is choosing to place their movies in just horrible positions. One thing I will say that Elemental should have done a long time ago if I was running Pixar was to move Elemental to July. One thing was because the month of June was way too crowded. There was a blockbuster releasing every single week. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Transformers The Rise of Beasts, Elemental, Ruby Gillman, Indiana Jones. It just kept going. It was way too crowded. And everyone knows families just can't go to the movie theaters every single week. It's too much money. and just bringing that all. People are gonna go see Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. People are gonna go see Transformers. Do you really think families are gonna spend another $60 just to go to see Elemental that doesn't even look that appealing and seem like it's worth the money? And that's the problem a lot of movies are having. July is pretty empty, I'll be real with you. Regarding animation, it's completely blank. The only animated movie that I see people interested in for July is not even being released in theaters. Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir the movie, that's being released on Netflix. The only big competition is probably Barbie. And that's about it. I don't see a Pixar movie competing with Mission Impossible or Oppenheimer. That's just not competition. The entire month of July was completely blank. They could have slapped Elemental right into any of those dates and it probably would have been fine. Why do you think that July seems pretty bland for just movies in general and then it picks up in August? August is pretty crowded too. You've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, The Meg, Blue Beetle, and then it just keeps going. One movie that was actually smart with this was the movie Stray. This movie was supposed to release, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to release like a week ago, but they said, nope, we're moving this movie. Because June was just way too crowded, they decided to move their movie to August 18th, which is a lot safer than releasing it in June. It wasn't just a good idea. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was perfectly fine, it's starting off the month perfectly. But the rest of these movies deciding to just fight each other all in 1 month was not the smartest idea, and that's why not a lot of people are going out to see Pixar's Elemental. It's just not worth their time and their money. Most of these people are probably just gonna wait for this to come on Disney+. And you know what? Based on the reception of this movie, it may pop off on Disney+. Take Encanto, for example. The movie released, it did alright at the box office. It wasn't anything great. It was definitely lower than a lot of previous Disney box office. But once it released on Disney+, the movie blew up. We Don't Talk About Bruno became like one of the first Disney songs in ages to rival Let It Go. And I'll be real with you, maybe Elemental will pop off on Disney+. We'll just have to see. But it just keeps going, and Elio doesn't seem like it's in a good position either. And honestly, if that movie bombs too, Lightyear, Elemental, and Elio all bomb, that's 3 strikes, you're out. They're not gonna try and do original movies anymore. And that's where Pixar's falling into. Pixar CEO a few weeks ago said before Elemental's premiere that a lot of sequels are up for debate, and that looks like it's happening. One sequel I'm perfectly fine with, but it's still happening, is Inside Out 2. We've kind of needed that sequel for a while, but yeah, that's probably going to draw in a higher box office. If they see that draws in a higher box office than Elio and Elemental combined, then they're going to know that they can't do this anymore. 1, because of their budget, and 2, just because it's not safe for them as a company. And not just that, we're getting Toy Story 5, which is the most pointless sequel in existence. Toy Story 3 was already fine on his own. Toy Story 4, I kinda got a liking to. I was just, okay, fine, it exists. But now we have Toy Story 5, where Woody and Buzz reunite? What was the point of Toy Story 4 existing if you're bringing them back together? It would have been smarter for the movie to focus on a new group of toys. That would have made sense, to reboot the franchise with a clean slate of new toys. And, I'm sorry, I forgot her name. But her being older now, that would have been completely perfect, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. But the fact that they're just rehashing the movie to get a bigger box office, which it probably will. People will probably go out and see this movie, and Pixar will be like, okay, we probably need to push out more sequels. Another sequel I would be fine with, but they're probably going to do that somewhere down the line, is Incredibles 3, which actually makes sense. That's a movie that should have a trilogy to finish it out. But they're just going to keep crapping out more sequels and sequels and sequels to the point where they're just going to be soulless, and the only purpose for them to exist is to make a large box office. And a lot of these directors are putting their heart and soul into these movies, and just to see them flop is just crazy to me. And it's just, you have to market an original movie well. If you don't, people aren't going to see it. This is what happened with Strange World. Yeah, they marketed it, but no one was interested. Elemental. They marketed it, but they didn't interest people. Ruby Gillman's a different story. They marketed the movie. Well, it's actually a double-sided stick. They didn't actually start promoting the movie till this month, which is a big oopsies, because not a lot of people will know the movie exists, but I think a good portion of people know it exists. But they actually marketed the movie well with its trailers. People are actually interested in seeing this movie, more than Elemental. So it's just crazy to me how Disney, of all companies, can't seem to bring in large box offices anymore. And at this rate, Disney and Pixar are just not going to do originals for a while. If Wish bombs, which is supposed to be their century on the making movie that's supposed to have this different animation following suit with Spider-Verse, TMNT, and it keeps going. If that movie bombs, we're not seeing anything for a while. I kid you not. The upcoming projects for Pixar and Disney could just be halted, and they'll just pump out sequels, which I see happening. Frozen 3 is happening. Sorry. Zootopia 2 is happening, which also does make sense, but these are sequels that don't need to happen. They really have no reason to exist, only for money. And it boggles my mind for how Pixar, the company that started an animation renaissance by bringing out Toy Story, has now fallen to the bottom of the barrel regarding animation. And it's really sad for me to say that, but Pixar really needs to rethink how they're marketing their movies, where they're placing their movies, and just adapt to the competition. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a popular franchise now. DreamWorks is stepping up their game right now. Change stuff up a bit to stand out from the crowd. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to fix what's going on with Pixar right now. Because trust me, I do not hate Pixar at all. They have some of the biggest and most classic animated movies of all time. But they're just not doing the right things for their movies, and that's why they're bombing. And honestly, I just really hope they do the right thing with Elio, because that movie, a gut feeling is telling me with the competition that movie has with the likes of Kung Fu Panda and Beyond the Spiderverse, that it's not going to do well. But what do you guys think? Why do you think Pixar is not doing so hot at the box office? And what do you think they need to do to fix it? Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you guys thought I was doing that Ruby Gilman review today, I'm doing it next week because, look, I'm not dropping a bunch of stuff about the movie before it comes out. Just not fair. So, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.